the case with most singer-songwriters, It's a completely different process as opposed to creating a hit song. Don't you cry, it's not over yet, and the fight has just begun. Without intending for it to happen, snow features in this music video. And when they sent me the rough cut, I was like, oh my God, he stole my thunder. He is மூடாமல் மூடி மறைத்தது தானா பூத்து வருகிறது தேடாமல் தேடி கிடைத்தது இங்கே இங்கே ஒரு இன்பம் வந்து நிறைய இப்போதையும் உண்மை நிலை அறிய தாங்காமலும் தூங்கா.
Thank you so much for joining, Andrea. I hope you're doing well.
I am, thank you. As well as
yeah. So tell us about your new single, Darkest Before Dawn.
Well, as the title goes, Darkest Before Dawn, I mean, it's an old saying, it's a phrase that people tend to use when they're trying to find, it's like light at the end of the tunnel, darkest before dawn. These are ways of making you get through the tough times, by believing that there's going to be a light at the, something good is going to happen at the end of all of this, right? That's basically what the song is all about, because it's been a rocky road for most of us, if not all of us, in some way or the other. And I think, of course, last year was tough and we were like, oh, 2021, here it comes. And then boom, we're back in the same place. I think it hit a lot harder the second time around. Not in terms of logistics, because now we know, okay, we know how to get into lockdown mode, just like that, right? But you didn't see it coming. Emotionally and mentally, I don't think most of us were prepared for it, right? So I guess, and now everyone is so wary because they're like, when is it going to happen again? You're like tiptoeing because you're so worried, you're so scared. You're like, how long is the good time going to last now? When is it going to be snatched away? When is COVID going to come and rear its ugly head over us all over again, right? That seems to be the mindset for most people. We're treading cautiously. And I think the song is just to give everyone a little glimmer of hope, including myself. Whatever I write, it applies to me first and only then to other people. Always. So, yeah.
Interesting. So now I know the reason why you released the song now. I believe this song was written and recorded sometime in 2014.
It was. I have a huge song bank. I have like 2 albums worth of material that's been unreleased.
Oh.
And because either I think, it's not good enough to be released, it needs to be tweaked, it needs to be this. I never think anything, I have that problem. So, I'm too much of a perfectionist and I'm not happy with anything. I keep tweaking. And then Prithvi, the guy who produced this track for me, he's like, hey, listen, he just called me one day out of the blue and he's like, you know what, remember that song we made? I think this is a good time to put it out because it's really going to resonate with people because, it's for all the above mentioned reasons. So I said, yeah, let's do it. And, usually when you're doing a single release, there's a lot of, you have to come up with, a marketing plan, and there's a whole lot of prep that goes into it. But this was a really low key release. Zero expectations for it. We just put it out there for those of you who hear it, for the people that it connects with and it touches. And I just hopefully put a smile on a few faces and make them feel slightly better about the day.
That's amazing. So, I mean, now that we know you have a whole bank of songs, could you, we'd like to know a little bit about your songwriting process. Like, what makes you write music? What inspires you to write music?
My life experiences. That's pretty much it.
So all your songs are based on real life experience, your life experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, I'm not a film composer, and I'm not, I don't have to cater to, I don't have to cater to an audience, or I don't have to think, oh, this will work, this will not. I don't think like that. Most of my songs, I would say actually all of my songs, just straight from the heart. I think that's the case with most singer-songwriters, It's a completely different process as opposed to creating a hit song where you start off saying, hey man, we need to make a song that makes everyone dance. Then you start off with a BPM, right? And you're like, okay, this is the right BPM. Then you jam and you put some chords together, and then you're like, okay, this groove works. Because I've been through this process as well. It's a completely different process. But the singer-songwriter process is usually where you have something inside you that needs to come out. It's just it's an emotion that needs to get out of you. It's a release. And that's so I usually write the lyric and melody in my head, and then I sit at the piano and I work on some chords, and yeah, that's pretty much. And then I go to a producer, or I go to my band. I'm like, guys, this is what I've written. And then they take, I'm a very simplistic pianist, that they take it and they make all the magic because they're such great musicians. So then, ta-da, we have a song.
That's great. But sometimes like you write songs based on certain situations and moments. So if you look at it, say a few years later or a few months later, do you still relate to it? Are you still able to connect to what you've written?
That's the thing about songs. And, they say that fragrances, for instance, right? A certain perfume, let's say something.
It stays with you. Yeah.
It stays with you for the rest of your life. I know people who will smell a hint of jasmine somewhere and like, oh, that reminds me of, like very recently, I saw someone wearing talcum powder, and it just set me off on a whole other tangent, because my grandmother used to use talcum powder. She's no more. But when I see talcum powder and I smell it, I just associate it immediately with her. And it takes me right back to my childhood when I was a little girl and we used to play dress up in her clothes and shoes. When we couldn't even fit into them. They were so big for us, but we used to do all these things, right? So that little whiff of talcum powder, that's what it did. I think a song has the same effect, right? Even now, when I hear a certain song, I am reminded of a time when I was in, let's say, college, and I used to go on these long drives to ECR, and it takes you down all those memories, and that's the beauty of music. So I think songs have that magic. They really do.
That's well said. Yeah.
Yes, of course. So I believe that you're also working on putting together an album and then releasing it sometime in September or October.
Yeah, we did. Yes, exactly. And I have the lockdown to thank for that, because I'm blessed that I work with the most incredible musicians, but the downside is they're really busy and it's really hard to catch them. So last year when the lockdown happened, I was like, guys, now you're all sitting jobless at home. So the entire album was recorded in isolation at each of their respective home studios. And it's come out so beautifully. I'm so proud of it. And this is something I'm definitely releasing by the end of the year, definitely before the end of the year. Can't wait for it. Each song has a story, and they've been written at different times in my life. So each of them has each song is so different from the other, because, it stems from a particular time in my life when I was listening to a certain kind of music, and it's a lot of those influences that have perpetuated. At the same time, the band has taken it and put a whole new spin on things, so it's definitely got an interesting sound.
Interesting. Can you please tell us about your band members?
Of course. Let me start with Leon, who's the keyboardist and like the cornerstone of the band. He's just one of the most talented musicians, producers pianists that I've, ever come across in my life. So unassuming and so willing to share, and without him, I really don't know what we would do. And Keba is the same, Keba is one of the top guitarists in the country for good reason. I mean, I've heard someone play guitar and say, "Hey man, here," and they pass the same guitar to Keba and it just somehow sounds different. I don't know how he does it. He has that gift, and he is not just that, he's one of the nicest human beings, so full of warmth, so full of love for everyone. And he just does the craziest, I don't know, the way he plays the guitar just lifts everything up. He's been blessed, I think. And also an amazing producer, by the way. Not so many people know that about him, but he's really, really talented when it comes to chords, chord progressions and voicings, and we'll be jamming and he'll suddenly press a pedal and he'll come up with this amazing riff. So he's killer. And then we have Naveen on the bass, probably the most unassuming guy in the band, but killer, and a sharp tongue, always, which nobody else gets to see, only the boys get to see. And then there's Kishore, percussion. He's also like one of the busiest musicians, and I love how he always makes time for me and the Jeremiah project, because he's like, AJ, you guys are like family. And I just like to be in the same room as all of you. So he's super busy launching as a music director very soon, and I'm so proud of his journey. And then we have David, our little I think of him as a little kid. I don't know why, even though he's grown up and married now, but still, he's a little cutie pie of the band. David Joseph on drums. Such finesse. As much as he jokes around and kids around, when he's playing drums, there's so much maturity and finesse that comes with it. He plays for Benny's band, plays for a bunch of, he's does a lot of gospel music as well. He and Keba and Naveen, I think. So they're really, really talented, and the best thing about them is each of them is a producer in his own right, and they're all friends. So we have a blast when we're in a room together. There's like zero ego. We're just chilling and jamming and having fun and making music, and it's the best feeling ever. Oh, and let me not forget Toby, who's our sound engineer, who's very almost like anal about stuff till he gets everything right. He'll take 2 hours, 3 hours to do a sound check, and then suddenly one day, sometimes things go wrong and you have 20 minutes to do a sound check, and that show will end up sounding the best. I'm like, Toby, why can't you do this every show? Just finish us in 20 minutes. Why do you take 3 hours? So yeah, that's pretty much it.
That was very nice. We really felt like we were chilling with the band right now. So I mean, your coming back to the song, your idea was to spread positivity through the song. So do you think you've kind of achieved what you wanted to? How has the song been received so far in your eyes?
I have no idea. I mean, let's face facts. It's an English song released from Chennai, India, and an independent song at that, with no label support. So, it has to grow very slowly and organically.
Absolutely. But I mean, over the last 1 year, there has been a spike in the number of indie artists in English.
100%, because it's not just the past year. It's happened. There have always been indie artists. We just didn't have an outlet.
Exactly.
But now with the advent of streaming platforms, you don't need a label to intercede for you anymore. You can put your music out there, and then you're still heavily dependent on lady luck, because there's no guarantee that the right audience is going to find your song. Of course, you have your playlists and things like that. You still, there's a little element of luck, something that a big label pumps money into and makes sure everybody hears it. An independent artist can never have that luxury. So even though when it comes to films, I may be a, an established actor or singer or whatever, but when it comes to my own songs, I'm still just another struggling independent artist. So yeah,
Hopefully it does change very soon though.
I mean, it can't change for me. It has to change for the whole.
That's what the whole community.
It has to change for the community. It has to change for the whole landscape of music in India. And I think it will happen for sure. Yeah. We're in that process. It's going to change.
Yes, like you said, it's been happening. Change has been happening, but we still have a long way to go. Let's quickly discuss about your practice routine. We know you're pretty busy schedule because you're also a leading actress. What's your practice routine, and do you have any particular vocal health regime that you follow?
This is a really bad question for me because I don't have anything.
Put you on a spot.
I mean, at the most, I wouldn't eat an ice cream before I went on stage, probably, or the night before. I have a ton of allergies. I'm always sneezing and coughing, and it's yeah. I don't really have any kind of regiment as such. But I do. I mean, I can tell you a bit about my background. I spent a lot of my formative years singing in a choir. And I did dabble a bit in Hindustani and Carnatic when I was in college. But then later, it became really hard because you just don't have the time. And then I quickly realized that, of course, you can practice singing 4 hours, 5 hours a day. And there are lots of people who do that. They're classical singers. But hey, I'm not one. So, I don't need to do it. Of course I can if I want to be a classical singer, but I dabbled in it and I realized that it's not for me. The greatest thing that I learned, and this could be misconstrued as laziness, but I realized the more you rest your voice, the better you sound. It's as simple as that. The more you rest your voice, the better you sound. I realized that over the years. So, and I think singing for me has always been like second nature. It's like breathing. So I guess I just have that faith and confidence that even recently, just before the second lockdown, we had one tiny little event that Keba and I did. It was a little unplugged thing. And I was so nervous because I'm like, oh my God, I haven't been on stage in so long. Have I forgotten how to sing? I don't know what to do, this, that. And once you get on stage, it's like, it's like you're coming home. That's it. At least for me, that's how it is. But having said that, I have been berating myself and thinking, Andrea, this is not cool. This is cool when you're doing like a few shows a month and you're like, in the groove, but now you got to find a coach, you got to find a vocal coach. So I'm actually, this conversation is like another poke for me to get cracking and at least when I'm not singing, to have a vocal coach or something.
Okay, we'll gladly take the credits there.
For poking you.
Yeah.
So can you name 3 of your most favorite independent singer-songwriters in India? Someone you've been listening to of late, yeah.
What's his name? There's this guy in Pratik in Bombay. Pratik Kuhar, is that it?
Yeah.
Correct?
Pratik Kuhar.
He's becoming everyone's favorite.
He's awesome. I really like him.
Yes,
There's one more. There's a duo. There are 2 guys.
Parik and Singh. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't remember the names, but they're really, the sound is really good. I don't know if they're singer-songwriters, but as producers, they're really cool. They have really cool sound. And
I think Lost Stories then. Yeah.
That's it.
Because you said producers.
It's more than the writing. It's the And then who else?
Okay, international.
Independent artists
Singer-songwriter, maybe not independent.
Yeah, probably. Singer-songwriter, I used to This artist called Banks. She's a little under the radar,
Yeah.
but I love her writing, and it's a little dark, it's a little edgy. She's never in your face, she's never missed, but I really like it. It's just got a very nice edgy sound. And then of course, I mean, I listen to a lot of lately I've actually started revisiting a lot of John Mayer, even though he's a proper commercially successful artist. He's actually a really cool singer songwriter.
Songwriter. Yeah.
He's an incredible guitarist, of course.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of his guitaring first, but lately I've also started listening to his songwriting as such and appreciating that as well.
Awesome.
I go through these phases, you know. I'm in love with an artist for some time. Jordan Rakai, another guy that I just adore. Amazing writer, producer, insane artist. Just blows your mind with the kind of maturity of his writing and his production. Jordan Rakai.
I think that, yeah, for sure. That happens with everybody, you know, we go through phases.
Yeah, if you'd asked me this question a year ago, I might have given you a whole different bunch.
Awesome.
Yeah. So can we look forward to any artist collaborations?
I'm always open to collaborating, to be honest. Always open to collaborating. And I mean, I've had the good fortune of Prithvi is an old friend of mine from, you know, we know each other from high school, and he's a really nice, clean producer. I really love his sound. It's so clean and happy, you know? Fills you with like a positive vibe. And his Crimson Studio is my favorite studio in Chennai. I always, as much as possible, try to record everything I do at his studio. Best selection of mics. If I know anything about mics, it's because of Crimson. I can, you know, I had a little mic education out there. And even in Darkest Dawn, there's Keba on guitars and David on drums, because I feel like when I have such great musicians in my life, why would I go for a completely electronic sound, you know? So yeah. And then last year we released Yerindava with ADK, who's such a great Tamil independent artist, you know? He's fantastic. The kind of, I have huge respect for him. His name didn't even pop up because I don't even think of him as an independent artist. Maybe because I've met him at AR's, like Rahman's show. But he is in reality one of my favorite independent artists as well. He's managed to carve a niche for himself, you know, in an incredible way. And such a great writer. The lyrics that he wrote for Yerindava just blew my mind, you know. So yeah, I'm always looking to collaborate with artists, with, you know, like-minded people who just want to come together and make a great song. So always open to that.
Interesting. So you mentioned about Crimson Studios, and you learned a bit too about mics. Do you have any preference for mics on stage or mics in studio?
On stage, no, I'm not fussy at all. In studio, yes. Depending on what song I'm recording, if I want a warmer tone or if I want a really husky, intimate tone, I pick a mic based on that. In studio, I'm a little fussy, but never on stage. Because most of the time I don't own a mic yet, but I am getting one very, very soon. From Shure. It's a customized mic, which I'm very happy about, very pleased about it. So I think I've not been fussy about mics on stage because when, you know, I've grown up on stage, right? As a child, my early singing life was never in the studio. From the age of 8 to 18, it was not in the studio, it's just on stage. And back then, sound was really not a big thing. So one show you may have great sound, and next show you may have crappy sound, but you just learn to deal with it, you know? So I come from that work ethic. It's not that I started playback singing and then got on stage. No. I got on stage first and then I got into playback singing. So for me, it was so that way I've never been fussy about stage mics. If you give me a crappy sound system, I'll still get through the show. I don't care.
Then I think I should ask Toby about this then.
Toby is a different, yeah. Maybe I don't care because I have Toby now.
Yes.
You had to quickly make it up.
I will check the tech right now.
Is there a music composer that you would like to work with in India or sing for?
Amit Trivedi and Rahman. I still haven't recorded for him. Like near misses. He'll call, I won't be in the country. Some rubbish like that would have happened, and I've still not recorded for him. These two guys for sure.
So for you, a venue you would love to perform at?
Royal Albert Hall.
Awesome.
Okay, you mentioned about AR Rahman. You've toured with him, right? So tell us about AR Rahman, your experiences touring with him, performing.
It's amazing in the sense he just operates at a different plane altogether. So I haven't been touring a lot with AR, sir. Just very recently, and never his tour. I can only do like a show here and there because that's all my schedule permits. But when I have done, and because it's such a big setup, the sound check is monstrous. It's like, and it takes the life out of you, because for someone like me who's used to my own tight band setup, there have been times when we've gone on stage without a sound check because there's no time for it, and we're like 10 minutes and we're done. But with an AR setup, it's huge. There are so many musicians on stage. Each singer gets their own mic. So, the sound check takes up almost a whole day. So, and you're just sitting there. And I mean, for me personally, I'll be like, oh my God, when is this going to end? I'm so tired. I want a coffee. And, all these thoughts are going through my head. And then sir will arrive, and he'll come. And the moment he comes, everything changes. The vibe will just change. He'll come and he'll just start fiddling around on the piano or his continuum. And then he'll call Cable like, hey man, let's just jam with me. And then some song of his that you've heard 1,000 times before, he will just interpret it differently on the spot. And everyone will just be like, oh, how did he do that? So I think for me, of course, it's incredible to sing for an audience of 40,000 people. And, Andrea Jeremiah on the Jeremiah project haven't reached that level yet. We've not hit that spot where we get to sell 40,000 tickets. He has, and we can. It's amazing to be singing to such a large audience. But that's not the high point for me. The high point for me is that moment in the sound check when I've just been like, oh my God, I'm done. I'm so tired, blah, blah, blah. And then this man comes in and there's this magical thing. And you realize why he is who he is. That for me is the highlight of being part of his shows.
Okay, the last part of the interview. We just want you to sing a couple of lines. One is from your latest track, Darkest Before Dawn. And other is any of your favorite movie song.
All right. Well, it's going to be hard to sing this without any accompaniment, but I'm going to try anyway. Just a little bit, right? I guess.
Yeah, just a couple of lines.
Well, I'll sing the lines that I like the most. Like they're my favorite lines. Oh, by the way, the most exciting thing about Darkest Before Dawn is because we decided to release it smack in the middle of lockdown. We didn't really have the time or means to make any kind of music video for it. So I asked one of my friends, like, you know what, we're going to do a lyric video, and my Nazif and the people who manage me, they were like, let's do a lyric video, but let's just have a few shots of you in it. So I asked one of my friends to come home and shoot just 1 hour of me at home. So the whole video is just me lazing around at home. And every time they try to get a shot of me, my little dog Snow would come in. And he'll come in and he'll go stare at the camera. So without intending for it to happen, Snow features in this music video. And when they sent me the rough cut, I was like, oh my God, he stole my thunder. He's such a rock star. He's the cutest thing. He's the best thing in this video. And I'm like, my God, this little dog has just taken over the music video.
Where's Snow right now? I actually thought that he would
He's napping,
be interviewed.
but I can
Okay.
wake him up. Say hi to everyone. He's very sleepy. He's napping. Hi.
So photogenic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Puppy.
Oh, so good.
You should do a full-fledged, music video with Snow.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, not
Oh,
now.
photo.
I'm tired, so he's gone back to his nap, I guess. But yeah. So that's the cutest thing about this music video. Don't look outside, it's all within you. The world is yours, you can change its hue. Love is a color, so open your eyes. Don't live a lie anymore. Don't be scared, you're not alone. I'll break these walls and take you home. Don't you cry, it's not over yet, and the fight has just begun. Oh, it's always darkest before dawn, but you can find the will to carry on. As long as we're alive, we'll fight the fight, 'cause nothing is so wrong, you can make it right. That's about it, I guess.
It
Beautiful.
was amazing without any.
I love the lyrics. Yes, very interesting. One more song.
Yeah,
yeah.
any.
I guess I'll have to do my usual Iduvarai because it's a crowd favorite.
Go for it.
It's also my favorite, so I don't mind.
Absolutely.
இதுவரை இல்லாத உணர்விது இதயத்தில் உண்டான கனவிது பலித்திடும் அந்நாளை தேடிடும் பாடல் கேட்டாயோ மூடாமல் மூடி மறைத்தது தானாக பூத்து வருகிறது தேடாமல் தேடி கிடைத்தது இங்கே ஒரு இன்பம் வந்து நிறைய இப்போதைய உண்மை நிலை அறிய தாங்காமலும் தூங்காமலும் நாள் செல்லுதே இல்லாமலே நித்தம் வரும் கனவு கொள்ளாமல் கொள்ள சுகம் என்னென்று சொல்ல நீ துணை வர வேண்டும் நீண்ட வழி என் பயணம் Okay.
Wow.
Well, that was
amazing.
beautiful. I have to say this now. My favorite is Malai Neram, and I have to tell you this. Well, that's okay. That's okay. I've listened to it a million times. I'll tell you this. So when we started Score a decade back, and I think this album, Ayatthil Oruvan, yes, Ayatthil Oruvan. The album released much before the movie got released, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so this used to be our album in loop, and G.V. Prakash would have done a brilliant job. I mean, he did a brilliant job with his album, and that was when we were just putting things together for Score, and this used to be the entire team's favorite, and we used to sit and listen to art. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much for your
I thought you
music.
were going to say that you met your wife or girlfriend and you guys used to listen to the song, because that's what most people say about Malai Neram. They're like, it brought us together. I'm like, wow.
Well, you brought both of us together now. So, yeah.
It brought Score together, so that's even better.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your music.
Thank
you so much for your
Thank
time.
you for having
And
me.
all the best for your new album.